Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Sabrina and I'm excited because today I have another Ninja Creami recipe for you. This is going to be my Biscoff or cookie butter ice cream. I'm going to make it super high in protein. So it's going to be 30 grams of protein, around 300 calories for a delicious ice cream that I think works particularly well in the winter, but I could definitely eat this all year long. So let's go ahead and get started. Before we do, if you enjoy this video, please feel free to give it a like and subscribe to my channel. That helps me out a ton. So thank you. All right, let's get started. So you guys know that for my Ninja Creami recipes, I make them all single serve because I do not like to share ice cream. I don't know how you other people do it, but that's fine. Mine is going to be just for me, and the base is going to essentially be 1 cup of milk. Today I'm using half a cup of this Fairlife 2% milk and half a cup of almond milk to kind of get that balance of protein and then lower calories from the almond milk. If you don't want to faff around with 2 types of milk, I might recommend just using a cup of the Fairlife fat-free milk to kind of get comparable macros. But again, this one is going to be really nice macros, so feel free to follow the recipe as is. But if you don't want to bother with 2 different types, then maybe just use a cup of whatever Fairlife milk you have on hand. So for me, I'm going to start with half a cup, which is about 120 milliliters of the Fairlife 2% milk. And you've probably heard a lot of people talk about Fairlife milk before, and that's because the way they do their ultra pasteurization allows for a higher protein. So for a cup of this, it's 13 grams of protein, which is really great. And the 2% is nice to add that creamy texture because it does have some fat in it. All right, and now I'm just gonna kind of add some filler basically with the almond milk. So I'm gonna add another half a cup of that into our creamy. Okay, so for our next ingredient, if you've seen some of my other recipes, I like to use cottage cheese in my Ninja Creamies. I think it adds extra protein. It really helps with the creamy texture as well, but I know that's not for everyone. So in this recipe, I wanted to show you how I also use the sugar-free, fat-free pudding mix. So this is just vanilla pudding mix. I get the one from Aldi because it's easier for me, but I'm going to use about 4 grams of this, and it's going to help thicken the creamy. So I do recommend you use either this or the cottage cheese to add to that great texture. All right, then of course what's going to help make it high protein in addition to the high protein milk is your protein powder of choice. Now you guys know I love PE Science, but I always get their specialty flavors, and so I never have vanilla on hand. So my husband very generously offered for me to use his Premier Protein vanilla protein powder, and he said it's very tasty, so I'm going to take his word for it. And I'm going to be using a little bit less than a scoop, which is going to be 28 grams for me. Again, you could scale that up or scale it down depending on what you're trying to hit, but for me, it's 30 grams of protein, 300 calories, which will mean about 28 grams of protein powder. Now, I've used a lot of vanilla as bases here because I'm going to be adding in some of the Biscoff and the actual Biscoff cookies later. But what I do want to do now is add in a little bit of cinnamon. That's just going to help boost the flavor. I'm pretty generous with my cinnamon. So I'm just going to get my little hand whizzer and whiz this up. Now, I think pretty much everyone has a frother at this point, but if you don't, this is something that people normally use to froth up their coffee drinks, but I think is really great in a variety of different use cases, including creaming up your Ninja Creami. So I just get that bad boy in here and start whizzing. Okay, so this is looking great. And again, it's so easy. It's just about a cup of milk, 4 to 5 grams of your fat-free pudding mix, about a scoop of protein powder, some cinnamon, or if you also have nutmeg, that would be great to add as well. And this is going to be our base. And how we're going to make it into the cookie butter or Biscoff flavor is when we're spinning it, we're going to add some of the actual spread, and then we're also going to be topping it with the Biscoff cookies or cookie butter cookies, depending on what you call them. But I'm just going to go ahead and pop this into the freezer, and I will come back with you and share how it's looking and go through the whole spinning process. It's super simple, just using my handy dandy Ninja Creami here. And again, for freezing, they always recommend, they being Ninja, not like the proverbial they, but the Ninja Creami company recommends 24 hours. I would say at least 10, but I'm just going to leave it overnight to be safe because otherwise, I've done this once. If you don't wait long enough, you will have soup, and we don't want soup. But often if I make it in the morning, like 7, 8 a.m., and then spin it at 8 p.m., that's been perfectly fine. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get this into the freezer, and then when we come back together, we'll add some of these yummy Biscoff ingredients. Hey guys, we are back and it is 24 hours later, and this is what my frozen creamy mixture is looking like. And you can see here it's starting to condense a little bit because I've left it to sit out on the counter for about 10 minutes, which should really help with kind of the speed of this whole process. So all I'm going to do is put this into the machine, and then I'm going to hit light ice cream, and then I will show you what it looks like after that. All right, so it has just finished its first spin, and I want to show you what it's looking like so far. Okay, so this is expected. It usually looks pretty powdery and like it's not ice cream. That's normal. So a good thing you can do now is just add a couple milliliters of your milk of choice. That's going to do us pretty well. And then I like to use a small spatula and just kind of get outside the edges a bit. And that way we'll make sure we don't have any icy bits in between. But this actually isn't as powdery as it normally is, and I think that's probably because we let it sit out for a good 10 minutes beforehand. So I'm going to pop the lid on, I'm going to respin again, and then I'm going to show you when I add my Biscoff and some of my biscuits as well. So this is what it's looking like now. As you can see, that texture is gorgeous, but we still need to add all of our Biscoff elements. So I'm going to be adding 12 grams of cookie butter to this, and then also part of my Biscoff biscuit. All right, so there is the delicious cookie butter going in. And then, of course, we have to have some of our actual Biscoff biscuits. I'm going to use about half of that, and then I'm going to use the rest to top the creamy. And what we're going to do now is we're going to put this on the mix-in setting so it can disperse all that flavor throughout the creamy. Okay, so the creamy is done, but before I show you, I wanted to share with you the macros. I've already talked about it, but just so you can see, it is 306 calories for this entire pint. It's about 11 grams of fat, 20 grams of carbs, and 30 grams of protein for this entire tub of ice cream, which is incredible. And then here you can see all of the ingredients that I added. I added 12 grams of the cookie butter, about half a cup each of the almond milk, and the Fairlife 2% milk. We have 1 Biscoff biscuit, some of that fat-free pudding mix, and the vanilla milkshake protein powder. So this is what it's looking like right now. I don't think the camera does it justice, so I'm going to go ahead and put it in a bowl so you can see just how incredible it is looking. Okay guys, now I've put it in my bowl, I've topped it with some of my extra Biscoff cookie, and I think you can see now how gorgeous this is truly looking, and it also tastes delicious. And I couldn't fit the whole thing in here. So it's going to make a ton of ice cream, is the perfect snack or dessert, and is going to give you 30 grams of protein. So I really hope you try this one out. If you do, let me know what you think, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please feel free to give it a like, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in my next creamy video. Thank you so much.